I think this is a banana skin for Terence Crawford. Favourite in the fight, but Madrimov, and moving up to 154. How do you like the power? How do you like the size difference? Of course, like I said, you make Terence Crawford the favourite, but big banana skin August 3rd.
Now, if Crawford is successful, Jaron Ennis is on record saying he wants that fight. What does he have to do as far as promotion-wise with, selling out?
Just perform. Like, promotion-wise, that's done. We take care of that, like you'll see on Saturday. But performance. If he goes in on Saturday, doesn't perform, squeaks out a victory, not big problem, but big disappointment. If he goes in, looks sensational, knocks out Avanesyan inside 4 rounds, the place goes nuts, it's about momentum. Do you know what I mean? So look, for me, I think one of the best fights in boxing, one of the purest fights in boxing, is Crawford against Boots, right? But we want to take care of business at 147. Like, I feel like we need to unify. We need those tough tests. And having done a huge gate here on Saturday, I know that we can fill the whole place up against the likes of Barrios, against the likes of Stanionis, and that's what we've got to do before we move to 154. But if Crawford is successful, for me that's a dream fight, not just as Boots' promoter, but for boxing.
Has Crawford actually said that he wants that fight?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he would want that fight. He will probably say, what's in it for me, that fight? And the answer is hopefully a lot of money. Look, Crawford's a brilliant fighter. I'm sure he's not afraid of it, and I'm sure he believes he beats Jaron Ennis. But also, Bomac, Crawford, they're also incredibly knowledgeable boxing people, and they know how good Ennis is. Like, they know. I think that's the toughest fight out there for him. And I don't think they'll be queuing up for it. But once the demand is there, and once someone like His Excellency says, "I want to make that fight," I'm sure they'll take the fight.
How much pressure are you, with the spectacular performance, how much pressure are you willing to put on Terence Crawford to make that fight?
Well, nothing, because I think he gets beat on August 3rd. But we'll discuss it after August 3rd. If he manages to get by Israel Madrimov, then of course we're going to be chasing him down. I mean, don't forget, Terence Crawford's first ever World Championship fight was on my show in Scotland. He beat Ricky Burns to become World Lightweight Champion. So, and if he beats Madrimov, then Crawford would have dethroned another Matchroom World Champion. So I won't stop till we get him, and I believe we can get him with Boots.
Eddie, 147, kind of a weird spot right now. We're looking at Manny Pacquiao potentially facing Mario Barrios. What do you think of that fight?
Yeah, I think that, it's a very contentious subject. Like, people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like, we were talking about fighting him with Conor Benn maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So, I guess there's 2 questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside of the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. And that's why we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, like, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually, Pacquiao is a step up. And people were still complaining at me for mentioning that fight, like Conor Benn is Boots. But he still hasn't had those wins yet. So I like to see great fighters just slowly fade out of the sport, but also at the same time, if they feel good, if they feel they can be competitive, and there's a lot of money to be made, I also get it.
People have been calling the Shakur fight an audition for you. Are you in talks with Shakur Stevenson?
He's coming on Saturday. I mean, listen, I can't. I mean, I've done a much better job than Top Rank in promoting him over the last 12 months. I don't even have a contract with him because I answer questions from you guys, and I say the same thing all the time. I think he's a pound for pound great fighter. I think he's one of the best fighters in the sport. He had a good crowd in Newark. he just drew the biggest audience on ESPN of 2024, and people still like to criticise. He's not Arturo Gatti. He's not going to go in there with his chin in the air and give you a war every time. But when he's in with elite opposition, you're going to see some of the best fights in boxing. For me, I think he should fight William Zepeda. I think that's a really good fight. Like, Zepeda is with the zone. He's all action. And you know, that's a fight that I would be talking to him about. But also, you know, do you really want to sign, this is not me, this is a question for him, a 5-fight deal when it may stop you from getting certain fights? Like, we're seeing a lot of promoters working together more now, particularly with Riyadh season and his excellency. But, you know, I think Shakur is probably thinking to himself, I have to fight Tank, I have to fight Zepeda, I have to fight Lopez, I have to fight all these guys. And maybe our discussions are a 1 fight or a 2 fight or a 3 fight. I don't know, but I think he needs that fluidity to be able to move and make those fights, because that's when you're going to see the best of him. And every time he's in with a, whatever that bloke's name was, Havosian or whatever his name was, it's just not like, those guys can't beat him. They can't be competitive against him. And like it's almost like he looked bored in there on Saturday. I mean, he was going forward because everybody wants him to go forward, so he was making a few mistakes. Won nearly every round. Like, he's that good. He's really, really good. And against a Zepeda, you'll probably see a different type of performance.
If Shakur Stevenson signs with Matchroom Boxing, let's say a 3-fight deal, ideally, what would be the 3 fights that you would get?
William Zepeda, maybe a move to 140 to fight a Liam Paro, you know, or another champion at 140. You know, and then look to other companies to do a co-promotional deal and a co-platform deal. You know, you've seen DAZN, you know, airing Munguia against Canelo Alvarez. You've seen DAZN airing all the Riyadh season events as well. So there's no reason why we can't go to Amazon and Al Heyman and say, do you want to do Shakur against Tank? And by the way, maybe we have something in our contract that says we don't even have to be involved in that fight. Because I don't want Shakur to not get those fights and those opportunities just because of some kind of promotional dispute or ego. But people are working together more now. It really will come down to Tank and PBC if they want the Shakur Stevenson fight, because that is a very, very, very risky fight for Tank. And he has to come through Lomachenko first. But you're seeing promotional companies work with each other, so I don't see that as a problem.
You were quoted saying that you're not going to pay him what Bob paying. Are you still standing on that?
No, I said that to Bob.
Okay.
You know, Bob said to me something like, about Shakur, I went, I'll tell you what, Bob, I'm not paying him what you pay him. And it was a tongue-in-cheek comment, and I'll have to pay him what Bob paid. I mean, he's not going to come, you know, he knows I'm a better promoter, he knows it's better for his career, but he's not going to take less money. But he needs to buy into the plan, right? Because there's a lot of work to be done on Shakur Stevenson. At the moment, it's Shakur against the world. You know, he's fighting all his battles on his own, on Twitter. He's putting out all the fires, you know, and the reality is that's draining, that's painful, that's difficult. And it's like, it's not a good look and a good plan. So he needs a promotional machine behind him, not just me, but a company, because Top Rank gave up on him a year ago. So, you know, he needs to calm on social media, get me doing the talking for him, get the promotional machine working while he's sleeping, and get in the gym and go and beat these guys.
There's still publicity, so that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
no, listen, he's the most talked about fighter in the world right now, as of today.
Tank, who wins?
See, the thing is with Tank, who I think is a brilliant fighter, right? So exciting, very heavy-handed. He loses a lot of rounds, right? He lost rounds against Frank Martin. He lost rounds against Ryan Garcia. He lost rounds against Pitbull Cruz. And these are all guys that aren't on the same level as Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson. So he has to put a dent in these people, otherwise he'll get beat. But he does put a dent in them because he punches really hard, and Tank's not just a puncher, he's got a good boxing IQ as well. I just don't think he's technically, or the IQ is as good as Lomachenko or as good as Shakur Stevenson. But can he put a dent in them? Because I promise you this, if he don't stop these people, he will be behind at nearly every junction of those fights, Lomachenko included. I think he stops Lomachenko, but he'll be behind. Do you know what I mean? That's what makes him exciting.
Jaron Ennis wants to unify. You want him to unify. You said the promoters are starting to work together. What order would you want those fights in?
I like the Barrios fight because I think, you know, Mexican comes to fight. You know, Stanionis doesn't quite have the profile. But again, like after what you'll see on Saturday, if the performance is great, we know that we can fill it. But all these guys, you know, it's gone from 147 with a load of high-profile champions to really Boots is their payday. Like, what are the other paydays for Barrios? Maybe Pacquiao, but who wouldn't even know if that'll happen. And Stanionis. There's no paydays out there because there's no big names at 147. Jaron Ennis is the big name at 147. He's the big draw at 147. So we got to get the money together to bring them to Philadelphia.
If you can't get a unification bout, does a bout with Conor then maybe in South
for sure.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, in London, here, London, you know, Conor's going to want to challenge for the world title, and we don't rule that out.
Eddie,
Right, guys?
Eddie,
Thanks,
can you
Eddie.
give a little insight on what kind of deal you're going to offer Shakur?
No, could be one fight, could be 3 fights, could be 10 fights. We'll have to see. Not even had a discussion yet.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
Okay, cheers, man.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.